Have you ever wondered why life seems to hit you harder than others? Why no matter how much you give, the world keeps testing you, pushing you to your limits, breaking you down piece by piece? Maybe you've looked around and thought, why do I carry so much when others seem so free? You've tried to brush it off, to tell yourself it's just bad luck or timing or fate. But deep down you know there's something different about you. Something that refuses to let you rest. Something that keeps calling you towards something greater, even when you don't understand why. You see, there's a reason the world keeps placing weight on your shoulders. It's not punishment, it's preparation. The truth is, the ones chosen for something higher are never given an easy path. They're given the storms, they're handed the chaos. They're stripped of comfort because comfort breeds complacency, and you were never meant for that. You were meant to carry something heavier, something sacred. Every setback you've faced wasn't there to stop you, it was there to shape you. The pain you've been running from, that's your teacher. The loneliness that keeps you awake at night, that's your mirror. Life has been molding you in silence, chiseling away everything weak, fake, or uncertain, until only the real you remains. The chosen man isn't defined by what he's given, he's defined by what he survives. But survival alone isn't enough. The chosen man learns to transform his suffering into strength, to turn what was meant to destroy him into fuel, to look at the chaos and say, this is where I build. Because the truth is, greatness doesn't come from ease. It comes from endurance, from facing what others run from walking through fire or refusing to be reduced to ashes. You've felt it, haven't you? That strange pull when everything around you is falling apart, yet something inside you whispers, keep going. You don't even know where that voice comes from, but it's there. Quiet, steady, unshakable. That's not weakness, that's your calling. It's the reminder that you are not like everyone else. You weren't built to fit in. You were built to carry weight that others can't even see. And yes, it's exhausting. It's lonely. Because when you're chosen, you often stand alone. Not because you want to, but because few people can understand what it's like to bear an invisible burden. They see your strength, but never your scars. They admire your calm, but never feel your storms. And yet, even when no one claps for you, even when no one believes in you, you keep moving. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you chosen. You've probably wondered when it will all make sense, when the struggle will finally end. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point isn't to escape the burden, but to master it, to carry it with such grace that it no longer feels like weight, but purpose. Because once you learn to bear the unbearable, you become unstoppable. The very pain that tried to destroy you becomes the foundation you stand on. And here's the quiet truth. Life never says out loud, the heavier the burden, the greater the destiny. The world does not hand its deepest struggles to the weak. It gives them to the ones strong enough to transform them, to turn pain into power, darkness into light. Every trial you face is proof that you were trusted with more. Not everyone gets that chance. So the next time life tests you, don't ask, why me? Ask instead, what is this trying to make me become? Because if you look closely, every burden carries a hidden gift, an invitation to rise higher, to see farther, to become someone the world cannot break. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize every ounce of pain was building the strength you needed to carry the crown meant for you. You are not being crushed, you are being chosen. The moment you realize you've been chosen, something inside you shifts. You stop seeing your pain as random and start seeing it as necessary. The confusion, the rejection, the heartbreak, they all begin to make sense, because every wound carved into your soul was a doorway to something greater. You were never being punished. You were being prepared. Prepared to see the world differently. Prepared to lead even when no one follows. Prepared to stand in the fire and not flinch. That's what separates the chosen from the rest. They learn to find meaning in what others run from. Most people spend their lives avoiding struggle, chasing comfort, searching for shortcuts. But comfort is the enemy of growth. It softens your spirit. It dulls your edge. The chosen man knows this even when he doesn't want to. He feels the pull of something deeper, a force that refuses to let him settle. Because deep down he knows he wasn't meant to live an ordinary life. And that truth burns in him like a secret he can't ignore. You've felt it too. That quiet unrest that never goes away. The sense that you're supposed to be doing more, becoming more. You try to silence it, but it keeps calling you. It whispers in the moments you doubt yourself. It shows up in the middle of the night when everyone else is asleep. It's the voice that says, you can't give up now. Because what's chasing you isn't failure, it's destiny. The more you resist it, the heavier it feels. But the moment you surrender to it, everything changes. You start seeing obstacles differently. What used to break you now builds you. What once made you question your worth now reminds you of it. Every time life knocks you down, you rise a little stronger. Every time you lose something, you find a piece of yourself you didn't know was missing. The chosen man learns that pain isn't the opposite of progress. It's the proof of it. The deeper the struggle, the greater the transformation. And that's why life won't let you rest. It's not cruelty, it's precision. Every challenge is crafted to reveal a part of you that comfort could never reach. You're being sculpted by pressure, molded by resistance, tempered by fire. The world is not testing your limits, it's expanding them. Every burden, every heartbreak, every loss, it's refining you into something unbreakable. The chosen man doesn't crumble under the weight, he becomes the weight others lean on. But this isn't about survival anymore, it's about awakening, about realizing that everything you need is already within you. The strength, the courage, the clarity, it's been there all along, buried beneath the noise and fear. The moment you decide to stop running from the pain and start learning from it, you become unstoppable. You stop asking for an easier path and start demanding more from yourself. Because you finally understand the mountain was never meant to test your strength. It was meant to show you it existed. You've come too far to doubt yourself now. Too many nights of holding on when it would have been easier to let go. Too many times you chose to rise when no one was watching. Those moments weren't small, they were everything. They were the foundation of who you're becoming. And that's the truth most people never learn. Strength isn't built in victory. It's built in the unseen battles, in the quiet persistence, in the moments you whisper to yourself, I'm not done yet. So if you're tired, good. It means you're moving. If you're scared, good. It means you're growing. The chosen man doesn't wait for the storm to pass. He learns to walk through it. Because he knows that what's waiting on the other side isn't comfort. It's clarity. And that clarity changes everything. It's the moment you stop living for survival and start living for purpose. The burden you carry is not your curse. It's your calling. It's proof that you were trusted with more. So stand taller, speak louder, move with conviction. Because this world doesn't need more people chasing ease. It needs people willing to carry the weight of meaning. And that's you. You were never meant to walk lightly. You were meant to move mountains. Every burden you've carried has been building toward this moment. Every failure, every heartbreak, every sleepless night, it all led here. You've spent your life being tested, not because you were weak, but because life was shaping you into someone who could not be broken. You were never meant to be ordinary. Ordinary people are not given extraordinary pain. And you know that. You've always known that somewhere deep inside. That's why you've survived what others couldn't. That's why you've endured storms that should have destroyed you. Because what you carry inside you is heavier than fear. It's purpose. You've walked through the fire, and now it's time to stop doubting the person who came out of it. You didn't go through everything just to question your worth. You went through it to know it, to remember what you are made of. The world may not have recognized your struggle, but that doesn't matter. You weren't being built for recognition. You were being built for impact. The chosen man doesn't wait for applause. He doesn't need validation. His power comes from knowing that his pain was not wasted. Every scar, every wound, it was all part of the design. But the question is, what will you do with it now? Because there comes a point when surviving is no longer enough. The chosen man doesn't just endure the weight, he uses it. He turns it into momentum. He channels every ounce of pain, every drop of doubt, into purpose. That's the moment when everything changes. when the burden that once crushed him becomes the force that propels him forward, because he finally understands the truth. Life never gives you what you want. It gives you what you're willing to fight for. And right now, the world is desperate for people willing to fight. Not with anger, not with noise, but with conviction. People who have walked through darkness and still choose to build light. That's what you're here for. You weren't chosen to suffer, you were chosen to rise, to show others that even the heaviest pain can be turned into power, that even the deepest wounds can give birth to wisdom. Because when you rise, you give permission for others to rise too. And that's how you change everything, not by escaping the burden, but by carrying it differently. You already know what needs to be done. You've known it for a long time. It's that vision that keeps you awake when the world sleeps. That quiet pull in your chest that won't let you give up, no matter how tired you are. It's not random. It's not madness. It's the universe demanding that you remember who you are. And when you finally listen to that call, when you decide to stop hesitating and start becoming, you step into a kind of power that no one can take from you. You've spent too long waiting for the right time, the right sign, the right approval. But the truth is, the right time is now. The chosen man doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. He moves through the uncertainty. He acts with fear still in his chest, because he knows that purpose doesn't wait. It demands. And the longer you ignore it, the heavier the weight becomes. Not because life is cruel, but because it refuses to let you settle for less than what you're capable of. You are standing on the edge of who you used to be and who you're meant to become. And that edge will either break you or make you unstoppable. This is where the chosen are separated from the comfortable. The difference isn't in talent or luck. It's in endurance. It's in the willingness to carry the weight with grace, to keep walking when every part of you wants to stop. That's what destiny demands. So this is your moment to stop shrinking, to stop apologizing for the fire that lives inside you. You were not meant to hide from the world. You were meant to move it. Everything you've carried was preparing you for this. The pain was never meant to end you. It was meant to awaken you. And now that you've seen who you truly are, there's no going back. The burden was the proof. The struggle was the sign. And the man who carries it with purpose, that's the one who changes everything. The moment you decide to rise, everything begins to test you. The world will push back harder than ever before. Doors will close. People will doubt you. Life will throw storms at you that feel personal. And that's because you've triggered change. You've disturbed the comfort of everything that wanted you small. The moment you claim your power, resistance appears. Not to destroy you, but to see if you truly mean it. If you'll stand firm when everything shakes. If you'll hold your ground when everything inside you wants to run. Because destiny doesn't reward desire. It rewards devotion. You can't just want greatness. You have to bleed for it. You have to face the nights where nothing makes sense, where your faith trembles, where your strength feels gone. Those are the nights that separate the chosen from the hopeful. When you keep walking through the darkness without a promise, that's when the universe starts to move with you. That's when you shift from waiting for purpose to becoming it. Because pain doesn't disappear when you're chosen. It deepens. It refines. It forces you to reach into parts of yourself you never knew existed. You'll start to see that the burden was never your enemy. It was your invitation. Every struggle has been calling you to rise into your full power, to shed the layers of who you pretended to be, to stop chasing approval and start living in truth. The chosen man doesn't seek escape, he seeks transformation. He knows the fire doesn't burn him. It reveals him. That's why he keeps walking when others stop. Because deep down, he knows that what he's carrying isn't just for himself. It's for everyone who'll come after him. The world may never thank him, but that doesn't matter. His purpose was never about recognition. It was about responsibility. And once you understand that, there's no going back. You can't unsee your potential. You can't unhear that voice inside you saying you were made for more. The weight you carry becomes sacred. You stop resenting it and start respecting it. You see that every challenge is a chance to prove who you are. Every rejection, a reminder that your worth was never meant to be measured by others. You stop chasing the world's validation and start embodying your own truth. That's freedom, the kind most people never find because they run from the very pain that would have freed them. But freedom comes with a price. You have to be willing to lose who you were. You have to let the version of yourself that lived in fear die. Because the man you're becoming can't carry the same doubts. He can't keep waiting for permission. He can't keep hiding behind excuses. You either step fully into the fire, or you stay in the shadows pretending you're not burning. The chosen don't get to live halfway. They give everything, every ounce of effort, every drop of faith, every part of themselves that still believes it's possible. And when you do that, when you commit without hesitation, life starts to bend around your will. The same obstacles that once felt impossible begin to move. Not because they got smaller, but because you got stronger. Because you finally stopped resisting who you were meant to be. That's when power arrives quietly, without announcement. It's not about domination. It's about alignment. You stop forcing and start flowing. You stop fearing and start trusting. You realize the weight you've been carrying was never holding you down. It was building your foundation. But don't mistake peace for ease. Even when you reach that place of clarity, the burden doesn't disappear. It evolves. It becomes purpose. The world will still test you, but now you move differently. You're no longer reacting. You're responding. You walk with a quiet confidence that can't be shaken. You've seen what it takes. You've felt what it costs. And you've chosen to carry it anyway. That's what makes you unstoppable. This is what it means to be chosen. To walk through fire and come out made of it. To bear the weight of something bigger than yourself and still stand tall. To live in a way that reminds others what strength truly looks like. So don't look for a way out, look for a way through. Because this path you're on, it was never meant to be easy. It was meant to make you extraordinary. And you already are. Most people will never understand what it costs to carry a purpose that burns this deep. They'll see your strength, but never the nights you cried alone. They'll see your progress, but never the battles you fought in silence. They'll admire the results, but never the pain that created them. That's the reality of being chosen. You don't get the luxury of being understood, you get the responsibility of being real. And that means standing tall, even when no one stands with you. Because the truth is, the chosen man was never meant to blend in. He was meant to break patterns, to disrupt the cycle, to create something new out of everything that tried to destroy him. You've been carrying a fire that others can't comprehend. That's why they question you. That's why they pull away. They're not rejecting you. They're retreating from the reflection you cast. You remind them of everything they've avoided in themselves. You expose their fears simply by standing in your truth. And that's why the chosen walk alone for so long. Solitude isn't punishment, it's refinement. It's the space where you outgrow the noise, where you build the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove itself anymore. But the longer you carry that weight, the more life demands from you. It will test your patience. It will strip away your illusions. It will force you to face the darkest corners of yourself. Because purpose doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in confrontation. Every moment of doubt, every heartbreak, every loss, it's all training. You're being taught how to lead, how to hold steady when everything else falls apart. You're being shown how to keep faith when logic says it's over. That's the real test of the chosen. Not just surviving the storm, but learning to move through it with purpose. And at some point, you stop asking why. You stop pleading for answers. You stop needing the world to understand your path. Because something inside you clicks. You realize that every trial was building the foundation for something unshakable. You stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as the price of awakening. That's when you start to move differently, quieter, sharper, with more focus and less fear. You stop reacting to the world and start creating within it. Because the chosen man doesn't chase what he's destined for, he becomes it. There's a shift that happens when you finally accept your calling. The weight doesn't get lighter, but you get stronger. The chaos doesn't disappear, but you learn to move through it with calm. You start walking with conviction, even when you don't know the way. Because faith isn't knowing what comes next. It's trusting that you were made for it. And that kind of trust turns fear into fuel. It gives you a stillness that no failure can touch. It gives you a presence that silence cannot break. But understand this: the world will keep testing you as long as you live. The higher you rise, the heavier the responsibility becomes. That's the paradox of being chosen. You wanted freedom, and life gave you weight. You wanted clarity, and life gave you confusion. You wanted peace, and life gave you war. Because each one is the key to the next. You can't hold wisdom without first holding pain. You can't carry power without first being crushed by it. You can't lead until you've learned to follow your own soul through darkness. And now, that time has come. The weight you've carried wasn't meant to bury you. It was meant to root you. Everything you've endured was building something eternal inside you. The strength to keep standing. The courage to keep believing. The resilience to keep building when everything falls apart. That's who you are. You've been through too much to stay silent now. Too much to shrink back into the version of yourself that once doubted. This is your moment to rise, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. So stop running from the burden. Embrace it, own it, carry it with pride. Because it's proof that you were chosen not just to survive, but to awaken. To show others what's possible when pain becomes purpose, when struggle becomes strength, when faith becomes the fire that lights the way. You are not here by accident. You are here because the world needs what only you can give.